Hey SpaceWatchers, this is Space Cafe Radio, your channel about trends, cool people and real conferences. I'm Thorsten, publisher of SpaceWatch.Global. This year we continue our series of annual reviews as Space Cafe Radios. We kick off this series with Dr. Moriba Jah, space environmentalist and the host of Space Cafe Moriba's Vox Populi. What have been your personal highlights in the last 12 months?
2021 for me, extremely busy and dynamic in ways I could not have predicted. I started off the year wondering about conferences with COVID and all these things and the pandemic, very stressful with my students, teaching and managing mental health issues within my own family with my students. So that was extremely challenging. From the space perspective, being called early on by Alex Fielding, co-founder, CEO of Privateer, asking me questions about space situational awareness, and I didn't know where that would lead. So that was an interesting conversation that months later I would find out that would turn into something quite interesting. As we headed into the summer, writing some major proposals because some movement in the United States regarding the Department of Commerce and the Open Architecture Data Repository and the U.S. Congress mandating a space traffic management pilot program that the Office of Space Commerce would have to lead, and at the same time being mesmerized at the fact that Kevin O'Connell and other people, Diane Howard, were pretty much asked to leave that office. So that was something unexpected in some ways and unfortunate for a variety of reasons. And then, look, coming into the summer, being contacted again by Privateer, going to Maui for the Amos conference, really looking at developing this pilot for a TV series under the working title Shifted Space, where my role is to be something like a Tony Bourdain for space, traveling the world and bringing space to people and making real human connections and that sort of stuff. And so I worked with students on the island of Molokai in Hawaii as my first stop, and we made a 5-minute video, which people can see on shiftedspace.org. And it was phenomenal. I was very moved by working with these kids and promising these children that we, the adults in the business, would do what we could to bring in their voices and really try to protect space for them and their own children, their own children's children. And then this flowed into the IAC in Dubai, where there were many talks about space sustainability and seeing how the World Economic Forum with a space sustainability rating has taken an extra step in a phase 2, now led by the École Polytechnique Fédérale de Lausanne in Switzerland. So that has been great, and seeing how that shift is taking place. But then, Thorsten, lo and behold, Russia decides to blow up one of their own satellites, which is like urinating in our own drinking fountain. And so that's the thing that was, after seeing all these positive shifts towards environmental sustainability in space, and it's seeming like people around the globe are finally starting to listen and get it. And then this sort of thing happens with the Russian ASAT, which I just didn't expect. I could have never predicted that somebody would do something that stupid and irresponsible. And so that's kind of been how some of the tail of the year has been. And part of me is cringing about 2022. I'm always trying to be an optimist, but I'm looking forward to the next IAA UT Austin Space Traffic Management Conference in March. But I don't know, with a pandemic and this next variant and seeing potential shutdowns around the globe, it just seems like we can't seem to get out of our own way with becoming healthier as a species and that sort of stuff. So I don't want to end it on a bad note, but look, lots of highs and lows. On a personal level, my first child, Denali, goes to college at University of Colorado at Boulder studying engineering physics. So that was a major win and some sadness seeing him leave the house. But then my 16-year-old, Benji, they just graduated a year and a half early from high school just 2 weeks ago. So that was a major thing that I hadn't expected in a long time. I think on multiple fronts, man, some reasons to be very happy, to smile, and some reasons to cry.
Absolutely. What are your top 3 seeing the entire space market this year? So are they top 3 things that you would like to point out?
Yeah, certainly, for sure. I would say that the top 3 things, I'm going to open it up with seeing more humans experiencing orbit and suborbital flight. That was I couldn't have predicted that. I always hoped to see that sort of activity happen. I'm glad and I applaud all those, my friend Dylan Taylor and other people like Sarisha Bandla and others get to go into space. I hear a lot of people saying, oh, these millionaires and billionaires and taking these joyrides. And I just don't understand the people that are actually upset at that. I think it's lame and it doesn't make sense. And I guess I'd like to remind people that every time that humans have done exploration, whether it's land, ocean, air, it's always been those that have been very well resourced, the people that are rich, that precede the rest of us humans. So people should take it as a good sign. The fact that billionaires and other people are going into space, that's a sign that people like you and I are going to be able to take these rides and it's going to be more commonplace. The caveat is that it needs to be done in a way that is not to the detriment of the environment. And so that's the thing that we have to do different. But yeah, my top thing I say would be seeing more humans be able to interact with space. That certainly, leads it. I'm going to also say, and clearly I'm biased about this, but Privateer coming out as a company to be a decision intelligence platform for space domain awareness and all these things, I would say that's another of my top things. I think being able to see more and more students coming out of nowhere saying, hey, a year ago, I didn't know anything about debris and I watched some of your talks and now this is what I'm studying and I want to become a space environmentalist. Man, I think that takes it. Like seeing more of the youth engaged and passionate about solving this problem, whether they're physicists or whether they're market people, business, like people from all walks of life are coming into this realm to try to actually solve and do stuff. And the growth of companies wanting to solve the problem too. I think that's also one of my top three.
That's fantastic. So it goes very well with the next question I had in mind. What touched you most in your specific area, space environment or space sustainability? You alluded on that. And if I'm just taking the students that are getting more aware, and I would even open it to many people are getting now aware, maybe we overpollute space right now. Is it the same you sense as well?
Yeah, so I would say that the thing that moved me the most has been engaging with children. Engaging with young people, engaging with children is the thing that has moved me the most. And certainly the trip to Molokai to revisit Molokai Middle School and Akaula School and speaking to these students and seeing the mesmerization in their eyes about, wow, there's something that I could do that could affect stuff in space. Them actually believing that was a possibility. Them hearing from me that, even though people out on Molokai, island of 7,000 people, they call themselves the farmers of the land and sea. I said land, sea, and space. And that people tend to say, oh, well, we're focused on STEM, science, technology, blah, blah, blah. And I've stopped saying science and engineering because it alienates people. And instead I say, hey, who amongst you likes to create knowledge and who amongst you likes to create solutions? And the creation of knowledge is science. And the creation of solutions is engineering. We don't have to call it science and engineering. And when you say creation of knowledge and solutions, many more people come to the table ready to do some stuff, right? So I think the kids, man, are the ones that have moved me. It's brought me to tears. I feel so blessed and honored to be a messenger. And I truly see myself as an evangelist. Like I see myself as an evangelist and an activist along with trying to create solutions and knowledge in the area.
I like the reuse of wordings or of words for this for science and engineering, because I think you're absolutely right. It makes it more tangible for others and gets us out of this bubble that we are in. What does the space industry needs most, especially needs most next year?
So here's the thing, right? I definitely want to take advantage to the first and foremost, Torsten, you're my brother. You've believed in me. You've believed in us and in what we're trying to do, because it's not just me. Like we're definitely aligned in our vision for this stuff. I'm so thankful for hosting the Space Cafe Moriba's Vox Populis. I can tell you, given the feedback that I've gotten, people across the globe have said, look, this is something like nothing else. The fact that people from the audience participate, it's topics that can be very confrontational or what people might think are confrontational. I'll bring as a highlight the idea of the role of religion and theosophy in space. That nobody's done that. Nobody's done that. And the thing is, it was such a great conversation and so uplifting. There was no discord. There was no lack of harmony. All these people from different major faiths and movements agreed with each other about peace and harmony, right? Not unity, but peace and harmony. Everything from that to, I mean, heck, the last one where we talked about the Russian ASAT and having my friend from Russia, from Moscow, Artem Moknatin, provide his own inputs into this, right? And just have a candid discussion. We've always been able to have a candid conversation being civil with each other. And the thing is, people care, man. So I think the thing moving forward from the Moriba's Vox Populis is this has to be a real conversation. We need to be able to talk about things that might feel uncomfortable, but growth is what happens when you can sit in discomfort. Growth is what happens when you can sit in discomfort. And the Space Cafe Moriba's Vox Populis provide an environment where we can all grow. We can all sit in some level of discomfort. And as people, as humans that care, find ways and mechanisms to move forward and again, create solutions and create some knowledge out of it.
Absolutely. What to watch out for the next year?
Man, I think that this keeping on launching things every 3 weeks without any sort of regard for the unintended consequences of the environment is horrible. I think that's the thing that makes me cringe. I think the other thing that makes me cringe, I don't want to be morbid, but at the same time, statistically, we're going to see more and more of these rides by people into suborbital and orbital space. I hope it doesn't happen, but I will not be shocked if a piece of debris causes the loss of human life. And people are waiting. They're like, oh, well, does something big have to happen before we do action? Do people have to die? People don't have to die in order for us to act. They don't, which is the whole reason why we're having these conversations and the MVPs and the fact that I go around the globe talking to people is it's like, why be reactive instead of proactive? We know the stuff that we need to do. Let's act upon it. I don't know. To me, the Russian ASAT was the last cataclysmic event that kind of justifies doing something different. We don't have to wait for people to lose lives. So the thing that looking forward to 2022 is, for me, certainly seeing Privateer's role come out of stealth mode. And I think people will be extremely pleasant to see what happens there, but cringing at the lack of joint management and coordination of the space environment. More and more people launching, more and more people getting licenses to launch, filing for tens of thousands of stuff like placeholders. It's a land grab in space. So I see more of that happening without regard to the unintended consequences. And then, like I said, I'm fearful for the real and possible and likely loss of human life as we continue to send more and more people into space. There's just so much that we're not tracking, man. The catalogs that we have don't represent objects beyond cannonballs. And that's just not good enough. I'm kind of cringing a bit with 2022.
Thank you very much. Any last positive words to end on?
Yeah, I have a lot of love and aloha for everybody out there. I appreciate every person. I hope that as we finish this year, everyone out there is surrounded by an environment that is loving, is compassionate, treats your wounds, because in all different ways, we've all been wounded in so many ways. And really, I seek to recruit empathy across humanity and to persuade every person to embrace stewardship as if their lives depended on it. If we can embrace stewardship as if our lives depended on it, then I think we're going to make some really good progress towards solving these wicked problems.
What a review. I can say I got some food for thoughts. And this was Dr. Moriba Jah on our review 2021. I wish all of you blessed holidays and a happy new year. Thank you for listening today. If you want to stay on the pulse of space, visit our website, our mothership, at SpaceWatch.Global and subscribe to our newsletters. But of course, don't forget to become a Space Watcher. I'm Thorsten Kriening, CEO and publisher of SpaceWatch.Global, your independent perspective of space.